Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast, where we're going to talk about Mest, Destination Unknown. Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast. I am Brad, and as always, I'm joined by our guy, Jason. Welcome, Jason. How are you today?
Hey, it's going all right. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you. And in fact,
a little shot out of the cannon. Sorry.
Anyway, I am absolutely ecstatic about this album. I am so excited for it. It's one of my favorites, absolute all-time favorite punk punk albums, whatever the genre may be. And it is Mest's Destination Unknown. This was really like my first consistent introduction to pop punk, because I mean, like I talked about before, I listened to Goldfinger. I'd heard some Real Big Fish here and there, right? But this was the one that I had a friend put it in and be like, dude, for reals though, like this is it. And it was actually a mix CD, and Cadillac was the first song that came on, and I was just like hooked and sold immediately. I've seen Mest in concert 2 times is all. I missed out on a couple times because of other stuff, but one of the best shows I've ever seen, honestly, Jason. Tony Lovato is outstanding live, and he loves to interact with the crowd. And so that's actually really, really cool. I was at like this warehouse show in Eastern Idaho, and I was like front against the gate, right? Just like pushed up against, like, and I was like in my mid-20s. I felt like I was like a kid in a candy store. and so I yelled, Tony, you're a god of rock. And he looked over and pointed at me and goes, I will F you. Yes.
That's aggressive. That's some Mike Tyson aggressiveness.
It was so aggressive, but I loved every second of it. It was fantastic. I was with one of my wife's friends, actually. She was standing in the back, and I told her that story. She's like, that was you he was talking about? That was me. It was awesome. But then and then I saw him another show, and afterwards my buddy and I were standing there. I was like, let's see if we can like get a picture with him. And we're like, all right. He's like, yeah, cool. So we're standing there, and I expected my buddy to be the one, because he's the one who's met, I mean, he met Yellowcard like multiple times and other musicians and stuff. And I was expecting him to say something, but he just walked by. So I was like, Tony, can we get a picture? And he's like, yeah. So he stopped, came over. And Jason, I'm not kidding you. I was so starstruck that like I just handed him my phone with a little bit of a giggle. And the phone that I had at the time, my phone case was a Seattle Seahawks case. And as my buddies, or as I'm standing there taking the picture, he's like, so you a Seahawks fan? I was like, yeah. That was literally the only word I was able to get out of my mouth. And I was 30. I was 30 years old. Like a little kid. It was unreal. So this is a band that has like deep roots with me. And
I think you need to find this picture and put it in the video.
I will. I'll put it over that, because you can tell that I was just like beside myself. That I actually had the guts to actually like go up to Tony Lovato and get a picture taken. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was actually one of the highlights of my life. Very fun.
That's awesome.
But anyways, Destination Unknown is an album that was released in 2001 on Maverick Records. And I mean, we've talked a little bit about how we played in bands in high school. Cadillac was one of like our top like cover hits, right? Like we had some original stuff, we played some covers, and that was the cover that we played that got the best reaction out of the crowd. And so I specifically emailed Maverick and was like, can we get permission to like put this on our album, because it's like a fan favorite that we play, right? And I never heard anything back, and we were planning on just doing it anyway, but it fell through. But anyway, so that's like that's how like deep this album goes with me.
That's awesome though.
So anyway, enough about me with Destination Unknown. Jason, would you like to share with us your thoughts?
So I actually took notes this time. I was prepared. I was very studious this week. So some things I noted. I thought the harmonies were absolutely excellent on this album. Going back and listening to it again as a 30-year-old is a lot different than listening to it as a teenager.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
I thought musically it was pretty varied for a pop punk album. There's some elements of ska, there's some elements of reggae, there's some rap rock. There's a lot of different genres that they seamlessly mixed into pop punk in this album, and I thought that was really cool. One thing I know you love, there were some great bass lines on this album. I enjoyed a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then my final thing was Monique Powell from Save Ferris was on Reason.
Oh, is that who that is?
It is who that is.
That's awesome. I like that.
I'm like,
I
that
had no
voice
clue.
sounds really familiar. And I went on Discogs and I'm like, oh, it's her.
That's so cool. That's amazing. I love it. So good. Well, Jason, if you're okay, I think I'm going to lead us in with our first track this week. Is that
Go
all right
ahead
with you?
and lead off. No, you're
Okay.
fine.
I'm going to start with, I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to go with Cadillac. I feel like and this is the strongest song on this entire album, in my opinion. And I know we're starting big with this, but man, like, it is the hook at the beginning, like you said, the bass line, and then the guitar that comes in with it and how hard that all hits, and then it so you mentioned rap rock. They go way more into that with this song when they play it live.
Do they?
Is
That's
that
awesome.
there's like there's an entire bridge that he raps when they sing this song. And actually watching Mest live is a completely different experience because Tony sings different lyrics to some of the songs, and I'll get into that more in a little bit. But yeah, so I thought it was really cool how that there was that different part live. And for me, like, it's not so much a song that I really relate to. Like, it's Friday night. What's going on tonight? I'll see you later on tonight. Like, yeah, that's fine. You know, it's like you're going to meet a girl at a football game, whatever, in high school. And then you're top down, seat back, rolling in my Cadillac. And that, like, it's not something that's really relatable to me. But the lyrics and the melody to that, like, the way that it flows is like so perfect and rocks so hard. And I just remember playing this song live, like the bass line hits and then the guitars come in and everybody in the entire venue were, you know, just blew up. It's like, yes. And yeah, it's like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, like I said, it was the song that like solidified my love for pop punk. It hooked me to Mest from the very beginning and has had so much of an influence on me musically in my entire life that it might be my favorite song ever. I don't know for sure, but it might very well might be. It's not a song I ever get sick of, I'll tell you that. So
wow,
there's that.
I was not expecting that.
Well, it's like I said, like it had such an impact on me musically and like my attitude in high school and things like that, you know, like just like the way the confidence that pop punk gave me in high school was way beyond anything else. You know, like I played baseball at a high level, but still like I never felt confident around the guys I played with. I felt confident in myself, felt confident in the field, but I never felt confident around those guys. I never felt confident around most people in public, you know. but like there was something about when I started listening to Mest and another pop punk that I was like, there are people out there who feel the same way I do, who have a lot of the same insecurities I do, and it made me feel more confident in myself. So
yeah, no, I get that.
Go.
I get that. That hits home. I get that. Don't worry.
But yeah, so those are my thoughts on Cadillac. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I guess I should go on to my first pick because I don't think I can add anything to what you said about Cadillac. So I'm gonna start this off with "It's Over."
Okay.
Normally I talk about songs that remind me of times in my life and things that happened to me. That is not the case with this song. This song makes me think about a friend of mine. It literally makes me think about when him and his long-term high school girlfriend broke up, and they were together, I think, for like 4 years, from like the time he was a senior to like a couple years out of college. Um,
Wow.
and just a lot of it reminds me of talking to him, being there for him through it. Just the whole thing, it hit home in a different way than most of the songs I talk about hit home. Um, so I mean, it's a great pop punk song, but it's a heavy pop punk song lyrically.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Um, but that said, that friend has a great life now. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, at the moment, it feels like it's never going to be fine again, right? But that's part of the reason you can relate to these. But it always works out in the end. But
but I
anyway,
thought
sorry.
this song stood out for me because it brought back that time with my friend and being there for him.
Mhm. Yeah, and I have this exact same experience with this, except it was personal. Like I was telling you before, this album was a breakup album for me. That there was a girl I was going out with, and we actually both really liked this album. We listened to it a lot while we were hanging out and stuff. And so I just kept the CD on repeat after she broke up with me. I was just like, And
Oh
so
man.
but like this song, man, this is basically how it ended. This is the chorus. She looked at you and she said to your face, "It's over." Like that was my experience. This song spoke directly to me.
Oh
so, so
man.
I get it. I get it.
Oh, that hurts.
It did.
That
It did. Yeah,
hurts.
it took some time. I'll be honest with you. It took some time, but no, I mean, it does. It speaks to the experiences, speaks to the breakups and stuff. So
At least you could still listen to this album. There's an album that an ex and I listened to a lot that I've never listened to again.
oh dang, man. Yeah, I feel like I've always been pretty good about like making the separation, when it's done, and the fact that like I was listening to this before, I think that helped, and that my friends were just like, "We're gonna put it on anyway. We don't care. You can cry in the back seat, whatever."
Oh, that's friends for you,
There's a
honestly.
lot of tough love, with that breakup, especially since it was one of my buddies. It was his sister, so
Oh
I think I
man.
broke a rule there. I confident I broke a rule
You,
actually.
you might you might have. You might have.
Anyway. All right, I'm gonna go with another one that's a good song. It's Chelsea. So this is
Ooh, that's a good one.
an outstanding song. And one of the things about it is that like when you're in high school and you have your relationships, um, the first line of this song is, "I thought you were the one, but I was wrong because you've already left." It's like that's how every high school relationship is, isn't it? Like
It's a lot of non-high school relationships, let's be
it is. It's just a
honest.
lot of relationships, period. But it is funny because like your world in high school is so small, you're so short sighted that like you always think like, yeah, man, yeah. Like I was dating this girl my junior year in high school, and I took her to like this church function, and afterwards, my buddy was talking to me. He's like, dude, do you think like she could be? And I was like 17. It's like, do you think she could be like the one? I was like, I don't know, man, maybe, like, so stupid. And then like 3 weeks later, she broke up with me. But
Oh.
anyways, so I was like, but no, like, so this song is honestly like one that I like legitimately love so much. So I'm writing a book, and it's a fiction, but it's fun and it's just like silly, right? And the main character has a love interest, and I thought about, because of this song, naming her Chelsea. I was like, that would be so perfect. That would be awesome. Nice little tribute to Mest. But then I thought about it. I was like, I have known way too many Chelseas in my life to do that.
Dude,
Like
there's a lot of Chelseas out there because
a
I know a
whole
lot
lot
of
of Chelseas.
Chelseas.
And I wonder and like that makes me think like, was this song actually about a girl named Chelsea, or is it like just enough of a generic name that you could be like, this is about every girl, right? But I
Chelsea
don't know.
might be like the millennial name. I don't know.
I think so. Like really, I've known so many Chelseas that it might be the name. Like when we reach the age of like the Karens currently,
Oh
like instead of
no.
Karen, it might be Chelsea. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Oh, she's such a Chelsea. Oh. But anyways, we should sell T-shirts. You need to put that on there.
You're being such a Chelsea.
It's a pizza to Chelsea. Oh. Have to put the
Oh,
ugh at the end.
okay.
UGH.
Okay, so
Ugh.
speaking of ugh, sidebar has nothing to do with any of this other than the ugh.
Perfect. I love it.
So our like fourth date, Jamie and I, her friend Jess's boyfriend, whose name I forget, her friend Sarah Beth, and her boyfriend Christian. We go to a corn maze late at
Okay.
night. We got lost in the corn maze. We walked through the corn to get out of the corn maze. Some like 13-year-old kid made fun of us for making fun of the corn. And we're leaving. And Jamie's like, oh, look at those llamas. And Jess's boyfriend, who's like 5 feet ahead of us, goes, ugh, they're not llamas, they're alpacas. God. Almost 14 years later, we still talk about this and laugh our butts off.
That's so funny. That's awesome. I love it. I'm gonna do that every time now. Every time I see it, oh llama, it's alpaca. Oh, it's so good. Reminds me of like a Napoleon Dynamite-ism, something like that. But anyway, all right, let's take a short break. When we get back, Jason's got a couple more, and I got one more that we'll get into.
9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. Weekly episodes for the entire baseball family where we talk all baseball all the time. Available on all your favorite podcast apps and on YouTube. Come join our baseball family where we do baseball together.
I'm Jason.
And I'm David, and we're the hosts of the Non-North Sports Podcast. We're the home of sports talk for everyone. Join us bi-weekly as we talk about the happenings in sports.
You can find the Non-North Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever else you find your podcasts.
Welcome back to the second segment of this week's episode of the Punk Popcast. Again, we are talking about Mest's Destination Unknown. Jason has 2 more songs, so I'm going to toss it over to him and let him talk about his next track.
All right, so my next one's going to be Another Day. Surprise, surprise, I'm a lyric guy. The lyrics on this one are what hooked me. I really liked one, these lyrics definitely took me back to a certain place and time in my life. I really liked was I wrong for trusting you? You said you just don't know what to do. When you're with him, you think of me, because change means losing security. I'm like, that's a super powerful like set of lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for a pop punk band. That's a little deeper than just you broke my heart. There's trust, there's other people. It's a mess. But I really enjoyed musically, the song's good. I really enjoyed the lyrics on this one. I thought this stood out so much more now than it did before for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, sorry, go ahead. I think I cut you off.
No. I was just gonna say I think just I couldn't appreciate it then as I can now.
Yeah. I get that. And like the lines for the song that really get me is I opened every door to you. I put all my trust in you. You took advantage of it. Why was every word you said a lie? Like I was listening to this album again today, and I was like, who hurt you, man? Like, shoot.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's so big.
It is, yeah. And Mest is definitely, I think they're one of those bands who's kind of like more on the fun end of pop punk. But this lyrically is a really heavy song. Just like it's over. I have a theme this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the thing with Mest too is that like as they go, they get progressively more and more mature, because Tony Lovato was dealing with some stuff, like some really serious, heavy stuff along the way. Like as they got into Photograph and I can never think of the other album after that came out about the same time as that. But there was a lot of like really heavy stuff going on, and you can hear the maturation in the music, but it still is like really catchy and enjoyable, a lot like Destination Unknown, right? Like he has some really heavy lyrics in here, but at the same time the music is really, really catchy, and that's what draws you in to begin with. So that's one of the things that I really like about it.
It basically, for like we said with Newfound Glory, with their first album, it set the table for what was coming in the future.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think the one right before this one, the album is Mo Money, Mo Fodies. I think is the
Yes.
album just before this one. And it's really good too. Like really, really, really good. So, but anyways. All right. Let's go ahead with my last one. And that is going to be Without You. And so this one, the one thing I like about it is it starts out with the chorus, and it's just kind of really mild, like the way that he goes into. I warned you, I told you, I'd be right here without you, but you didn't care. You told me I'd go nowhere if I didn't have you. But where are you now? It's like, again, like who said these things to you and who hurt you? Because man. But musically though, like we talked before, I'm a big music guy. The beginning is nice and mild and slow, the way that it starts out, and it fits perfectly with those lyrics, but then the song really picks up, and then later it doesn't ever look back, right? It has that perfect, it's almost like a perfect slope of a rise at the beginning. It hits, and then it has a slow and steady rise right to the very end, and it keeps up with its own pace, because that's a problem that I have with a lot of music. I think I've said that before, that especially with classic rock, like I love the way so many classic rock songs start out, but then it's like you have the intro that's awesome, you get into the verse and it's like a completely different song. It's
Right.
like there's no continuity there. This song has perfect continuity from start to finish, and it's one of the reasons it's one of my favorite tracks on the album.
I enjoyed this song a lot, and it was almost just like with Chelsea. This one could have been on my list. I loved the one of the last verse where he has, "You'll never change that, I can see, when you said at least you're making money for me." Wow. That's strong. That is stiff, man.
Well, it's that feels like a Fall Out Boy line. Like Fall Out Boy may have drawn their entire model from that one line. Like, that's "Take This to Your Grave." That's "From Under the Core Tree."
We have questions for Pete Wentz now.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what that feels like to me. Specifically, I slept with someone in Fall Out Boy, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. Like that is like where that comes from.
Great one.
For me, but anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I got nothing else to add.
All right, what's your last one, Jason?
Okay, so this is literally my favorite Mest song. I actually discovered this song. So I didn't discover this album until 2003.
Okay.
But this was the song that drew me into this album. I'm going with Drawing Board as my final song.
It's so good.
It is amazing. It is like the perfect pop punk songwriter boy song ever. That's the only way I can describe it. Because I mean, I was in a band, I was writing songs, I went through a breakup. This song was everything in 2003 for me. I mean, what can I say? The lyrics are fantastic. The music is fantastic. So good. If we were rating just this song, I'd give it 100.
Yeah.
And that might be skewed by a lot of personal feelings on this song, but
yeah, no, it is a perfect pop punk song. And this was another one that my band played, because like I said, all four of us, we loved Mest, and so we wanted to pick as many songs as we could to play, and this was one of them. Partially because I was like I was rhythm guitar, but I told my buddy who was the lead guitar, I was like, dude, I don't care what you do the rest of the show. Like you could like stand there and I could just like stand in the back and watch you play, but this is my intro. I don't care what you say. This is my intro. So And so I got it, I played the solo and it was awesome. Like, it's such a good song. It's something that I think I always think is funny. So all 2 times, like I said, that I've seen Mest in concert, Tony sings the lyrics for this different in concert than he does on the album. So the chorus goes, "I spent days and nights in my bedroom trying to write the perfect song to sing to you." That's not how the words go in concert. It says, "Trying to write the perfect song to F you two."
There you go.
And it actually like fits really well. I like it because like, I don't know. I think it fits really well. I like it. And I was actually going to reach out to him and see if those were supposed to be the words, but the record label was like, nah, a little explicit, And so
for me, that chorus, that sealed it for me. And specifically the second chorus where it changes from write a song a day, but the band won't like it anyway, because let me tell you, my bass player was so fed up with songs about my ex that he's like, dude, come on now.
Was that the name of your album?
No. We never got that far. I told you that story.
I know. Yeah, we talked about that. We had the conversation. But yeah, no, it is, because that's one of the things about being in a band, right? Is that you come up with something like, oh man, I love it. It's so awesome. It's so good. Then you bring it to the table and they're like, dude, that sucks. Oh, okay.
Well, fine then.
There's a week's worth of work out the window. So yeah, lyrically, like, this song is absolutely perfect. I love everything about it. It's so good, and so good for a breakup album too, right?
Yes.
Because she's breaking up and I'm breaking down. Now I'm headed out of this effed up town. Like what do you want to do after you've been broken up with, other than like just get away?
And so for me, being from a small town, that line was so good, because I'm back here, but I mean, all you want to do is leave, and do something else. Kids, man, free daycare. It's kind of hard to pass up free daycare.
Trust me, Jason. You just find a way to make it work. I don't know if it works out better or worse, but we make it work. So, all right. So let's get to let's figure out our pop punk rating for this album. Jason, why don't you go ahead and give me your rating first?
I think you swayed me to change my rating.
Oh, okay.
So I had it at an 89, and I bumped it up to a 90.
Ooh, look at you. There you go. Now, see, for me, because I feel like it checks all the boxes, right? Sing song chorus. It doesn't necessarily always have the big chorus. There's a couple songs that have a bigger chorus. But lyrically, it speaks to you. I mean, we've talked about it several times throughout this entire episode, that it's a really good breakup album, because for some reason somebody hurt Tony Lovato at some point and he put it on paper and recorded it, and it's right here. Like, this is it, and it's amazing. I want so badly to make it a 100. Like,
do it.
I think I'm so biased, so I think collectively it would be a 95, right?
All right.
So yeah, so we've got a 95 for Mest, Destination Unknown. Let us know what you think about Mest, Destination Unknown. If you tell me you don't like it, I'll tell you you're wrong, first off, because there's nothing not to like about it. But go ahead and reach out to us at Punk Popcast on Twitter. You can also leave us a voicemail. There's a link in the description of every single episode. Just leave us a voicemail. We'll get that, and we will address it on an episode if you choose to do that. Let us know what you think, like I said, about Mest. If there are any specific bands that you want to hear about, we have a whole long list for it's going to be good for at least 3 or 4 years of content. But we have no problem interjecting what you guys want to hear into that, if that's the way you choose to go. But thanks again for joining us, and we will get with you next week.
See ya.